Check 1, 2. Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, it's maxed out. Yeah, I'm seeing the bar when I talk, so.
No?
Yeah, we're good for you. Cool.
Yeah.
Check 1, 2.
Check 1, 2.
Okay.
We're good. Good to go?
Check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
And then I'll just
Super delayed right now.
just listen in. So I'm gonna radio. Let's check the radio to make sure it's not interfering.
We are ready to go, my friend.
Phone is off.
You're live whenever you're ready.
Good morning and welcome to Cloud Sports Network coverage of the 22nd season San Diego American Flag Football League championship game. This is going to be a game between the Harley Gray Hornets, who were undefeated in the regular season, and the EQ King of Queens in the Navy jerseys, who had a 6-4 regular season and made it to the championship game out of the 6th seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is the Open Division Championship today. This will feature two of the top teams in that division. Like I said, the Hornets are coming back after winning the championship last year, and most of the team that we see on the field today for the EQ King of Queens was on the team that faced them last year. So in words, this is a rematch of sorts.
So you mentioned this is the Open Division. The other division, the Women's Plus Division?
Yeah, women's WTNB. It's a women, trans, and non-binary division. Their championship game will be streamed after this one, so it'll follow it at 1 p.m. Pacific.
So the captain of the Harley Gray Hornets is Keith Oliphant, and usually their quarterback is Cam Wilcom, and he is the 2025 Quarterback of the Year nominee for the league. The EQ King of Queens are coached by King Mike, and their quarterback is Eric Reisner quarterbacking today?
Yes, Eric Reisner is their starting quarterback. Ryan O'Shaughnessy can quarterback if need be, but he's the starter today.
And O'Shaughnessy is the co-captain of the Bolts, and we'll talk a little bit more about the upcoming Gay Bowl as we talk. We have a special crew today. We are going to have multiple officials. We're going to have 6, which is a little bit unusual. We usually have 3 officials for a game and sometimes have 4. So the referee in the white hat is going to be Neil. The down judge with the down marker is going to be Brian. The line judge across from him will be Vaughn. And then we will have 2 other judges, Zach and Ken, and then the back judge will be Austin. This is a very experienced crew. Neil is the head referee for the league. Ken has been reffing for a very long time. Austin is also a referee of many games with a white hat, and Ken has done the same.
Yeah, generally we will have 3 officials during a regular season game, sometimes 4. Usually 4 is mandatory for playoff games. But for a championship game, if you can have more, that's ideal. And in this case, there are referees that are new to the league, and this is great experience for them to learn, and so that way they can become part of the referee cadre for next season.
And right now they are probably going over any last-minute rules. There is an equipment check to make sure that the coaches can confirm that all their players are equipped safely in adherence to the rules. And then they will flip the coin, and we will find out who is kicking and who is receiving and which ends we're going to.
Yeah, and the Hornets are going to have a special bit of motivation. They lost one of their players in the previous game on the opening kickoff. Unfortunately, he broke his leg. He's doing well. His spirits are up, but it would appear the Hornets are going to rally around that moment, and they're going to have more fire in them to win this game than they would have otherwise.
So, Steve, I ran into Cam a couple weeks ago, and he also mentioned that they are coming up perhaps on the record undefeated streak for this league.
That is correct. I believe the consecutive wins record is 14 or 15, and if you include playoff wins, they are coming up on that. If they go back to last season, you can accumulate those records over multiple seasons. So I believe if they win this one, they will have that consecutive wins record. If you go to SDAFFL.com.
EQ has won the toss and defers to the second half. Harley Gray will receive at this end.
Okay, so what Neil was telling us, there was an EQ. The team in navy blue technically won this toss. They deferred or chose to receive in the second half, so they will kick this half, and they will kick to the Hornets, and the Hornets get to decide where they will receive. And so they will be receiving to our right as we are in the broadcast booth. So they will clap it up, show some good sportspersonship, and then we will set the field with EQ at the 30-yard line to punt, and Harley Gray getting ready to receive.
And one thing to look for these kickoffs or punts today is that there is wind moving from left to right. It's affected everything today, so we'll have to see how that affects the punt. As long as it's blowing east to west, I don't think it'll blow it out of bounds, but if you're kicking east, you will get some help.
And so just a few things to know. It is 7-on-7. It is flag football. You can only get one rush per possession. And so you can get multiple first downs, but only one rush. Now you can pass the ball forward and pitch it back, which seems to be happening more in the league this year, especially in these playoffs.
Yeah, and by rush, we obviously mean, almost always that means the quarterback scramble, can take the ball. If he doesn't see anything he likes, he can run with the ball. He only gets one per drive, but after you score a touchdown, you do get another run for your extra point. And oftentimes that's valuable, especially if you're only 5 yards out.
And touchdowns are worth 6 points. A extra point try from the 5-yard line is worth 1. An extra point try from the 10-yard line is worth 2. We were discussing earlier whether there would be a 3-point play, but apparently as of yet there is not.
Yeah, they did a vote on the national level to have it be 3 points from 15 yards out, and it narrowly missed. So maybe next time.
All right, so we have 6 on the line here for the kickoff with the referee Ken looking at it. We are getting the Harley Gray Hornets in place, and it looks like in just a second here we will be ready to go, and Neil will blow his whistle. And there's your kick by O'Shaughnessy. All right, so it looks like the Hornets are going to start from about the 25 or 26 yard line. That was actually a pretty good punt by O'Shaughnessy for these standards.
A decent run by Joseph Cantwell on the reception. Not a lot of lateral movement, so he got a decent amount of yards. So it looks like, yeah, around the 22-yard line.
So, Steve, do you know, I've seen Joseph play. We just actually were in the last game. I reffed him. He is listed as a rookie, but he seems to have a lot of football experience.
On the Hornets, a lot of these rookies actually play in other leagues and have played for a while, so that experience is definitely showing already.
So a quick pass out, and we're not able to get the flags, but he did step out of bounds a little ahead of the 30, so we're still going to have second down here and probably about 4. They're going to reset the field. What you're seeing out there that the referee is doing now is the first blue beanbag is the line of scrimmage. The yellow beanbag is always the line to gain. The other blue bag is the rush box, and the rushers must start from behind that line.
Yeah, the rushers have to be 5 yards back before they can go towards the quarterback over the line.
So it looked like the flag came off, but there was a flag on the ground, a yellow flag from the referee, so we will see what that call is.
Might be a legal rush.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 23. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
So I did not see what that was. I don't know if you did see, but roughing the passer usually is a player hitting the quarterback's arm, but you cannot touch the quarterback's arm when you are trying to block a pass.
Yeah, what's likely to happen is instead of going for the flags, he threw his hands up to kind of get in Cam's face, and Cam's arm may have come down on the rusher, and that's unfortunate, but that's a pretty big penalty. So that's why you have to be careful as a rusher at all times to go for the flag so you're not in the path of the quarterback's arm.
So instead of the 32, we are at the 42. That is Julius Williams out there at center, and that is Cam Welcome quarterbacking. And again, what you saw right there was the catch, and they tagged the receiver, who is Al Wolfgram, but they did not get the flag, so he gets to go until somebody pulls his flags, he gets out of bounds, or his knee goes down. So got a lot of extra yards after that first attempt to pull.
Yeah, this is Wolfgram's second year in the league, and he was a Rookie of the Year nominee last year. He's come on pretty strong. He was a great acquisition by the Hornets in the draft.
So the other folks across, as you see, his number is number 21, who is Cantwell, and then number 15, Tina Chang, is out there. She's been playing most of the snaps for them today. Catching that one before he was deflagged is Jimmy Trong, who is the 2024 Defensive Back of the Year for this open division. We mentioned Albert, and then the last player there we haven't mentioned is actually the captain, number 2, Keith Oliphant, is out there.
Yeah, Oliphant's going to be a pretty big target for Cam, as is Tina Chang. She's actually their nominee for Receiver of the Year. She's been utilized all year, and she's done a fantastic job for the Hornets.
All right, so we have a sack on that one. So they're going to reset those pucks. The yellow one will stay where it is. They'll move the blue ones to reset the rushing box. In case you are wondering, there are really no formation penalties in this flag football league. They can line up more or less however they want to. However, nobody can be moving forward at the snap. If you are flinching right at the snap, that can be a false start. But some of the movement you will see, as long as it is moving away or stops and resets before the snap, is okay.
It doesn't look like Cam was able to find a receiver there, so he went to run it himself. I don't think he crossed the line, so I don't think that'd be considered a run, but I can't tell.
I think they are moving the pucks back, so no, I think that was technically, as you say, a sack again, because he was not able to find a receiver, and I believe they rushed 3 that time. So you can rush as many players as you want to. The first person to cross the line of scrimmage has to be somebody who started behind that rush box. But once they do, other people can kind of crash in there as well. So that's Wes Train out there for the Kings and Queens. And we'll explain that play in a second. And that was a great catch by Joseph Cantwell out there for a score. So what happened on that play early on is that the quarterback said go, his team froze, did not get a penalty, but the rushers came across the box. When that happens, when he does snap the ball, they have to go back behind the box and rush. So he usually gets a little bit more time, and that time was well spent waiting to get that throw to Cantwell.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks will say on 2, meaning the initial hike is not the real one, and that's meant to draw the rushers, cause them to jump. And if they do, they have to go back to the 5-yard mark and restart. Otherwise, it's a penalty.
And so it looks like they have chosen to go for 1 from the 5-yard line. And there, as you said, Steve, is Tina Chang.
Yeah, she's been a very reliable set of hands for the Hornets. And, she was right in the right position, found a hole, got open for Cam, and he was able to complete it.
So we are going to have a score of 7-0. What happens after a touchdown is the other team gets the ball and they start on their 15-yard line going the other way. And to be honest, a score is not a surprise. This is an offensive game. You are going to see most of the drives end in scores. If a team can stop a team once and certainly twice, they are very likely to win the game.
Yeah, this is a 7-on-7 flag football, especially in our leagues, are definitely offensive.
So it looks like O'Shaughnessy is starting out at center there and is going to snap to Reisner. Nice pull there by Jimmy Trong.
Yeah, these two have played together for nearly 15 years. They know each other's rhythms very well. They don't get a chance to play together very often in the regular season. This is almost a mirror of what they do when they go to the Gable tournament, usually with the Bolts. So I expect to see a lot more of this during this game.
Another pass complete to O'Shaughnessy and another pretty good pull there. Limiting him. Looks like they did get the first down. Okay, so that was the first down. We're going to reset here. Talk about the defense a little bit as we can see them. So the defense with King Queens, King Mike is out there at number 5. That is Steve Bithell, number 12. Let's see.
Watch number 94, Edgar Ramirez. There he is.
Okay, a lot of discussion here. So I do not see any yellow flags on the ground. So it appears that that play will end where he was deflagged. What they are talking about are a couple of things. So if you try to pull the flag and hold the runner up or wrap your hands around him, that can be a holding. And if you block the defense's ability to grab your flag by jumping or diving or using your hands or changing your height of your waist, that is called flag guarding, and that is a penalty on the offense.
And it looks like to the officials neither happened, so they counted it where it was. Oh.
So a couple of flags there. We'll see what it is. It looked like Cam was trying to get that flag and had to work a little hard to get it, but then there was also a player who came in and appeared to make contact with the runner after the play.
Yeah, it would appear that the receiver, Edgar Ramirez, number 94, did get into Cam a bit. This is the second time, and it looks like the officials called it this time. And again, in a championship game, things can get chippy, and they're going to try to tame that right now.
Okay, so what he said there is the results of the play was the first down. So they will go to where the contact happened, which was after the first down marker, but then they're going to go back 10 yards because, as you said, Steve, they felt that the receiver then runner initiated contact unnecessarily. So Reisner with the rush. So that is his one quarterback rush for this possession or this drive. So from now on, everything has to initiate with a pass. However, it can be a very short pass or it can even be a shovel. So what you may see more of once the quarterback can no longer run past line of scrimmage are little push passes or dump passes to a runner or a receiver going across the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, technically Reisner could throw the ball to the center who could then toss it back to him, and then Reisner could then run. That would, because he threw a pass on that play, he could do that, but he doesn't do that very often. Jeremy Stumpguess with the catch.
And with two very good quarterbacks, if you are expecting to see a lot of deep passes, you may see some, but this is actually how this kind of flag football is played. A lot of short plays, a lot of 5- and 6-yard plays, keep the chains moving. The long passes are usually actually when you are doing well or have gotten into trouble.
Yeah, Reisner doesn't typically throw more than 20 yards on a drive unless he absolutely has to. He benefits from the 8 to 15-yard passes more often than not.
So Bithell making the catch on the sideline. Looks like it is probably still short of the first down.
Yes.
So
Stephen Bithell, number 12. This is his 4th year in San Diego, but he played in Boston and New York prior, as far back as 2007. So again, another example of someone who may have limited years in San Diego, but has quite an extensive background before they came here.
So that was Reisner to Stumpkins again. And it looks like it was just short of the goal line. We are going to have a first and about 1. to the goal.
King Mike has drafted stump guests quite a few times, so there's a familiarity there, and that's probably why that core is out there right now to get that first score.
All right, so that is a touchdown, and what you saw there was the snap going to Reisner, Reisner doing a little chest pass to the receiver, and the receiver putting the ball over the line.
Yeah, no need for the tush push in this case. It's one of the hardest things to defend when they're that close. You're almost resigned to know that the offense is going to score, and you almost want them to score so you can hurry up and get the ball back.
And so it looks like they are also going to go for one, as the score is 7-6 in favor of the Harley Gray Hornets. So this will be to tie the game.
Yeah, extra points are extremely important, especially in games like this.
All right, so we are tied at 7. One other thing to know is that when you go to the extra point, if you have used your run for that series or possession, you get it back for the extra point, and Reisner has run in an innumerable number of extra points to the side of the corner.
Yeah, oftentimes a quarterback will scramble to one direction and pump fake to fake out the defense, and then will run to the corner pylon and just slither right in there. And it's in this case he didn't have to because King Mike was open.
So now the defense, we have Jimmy Hawley, number 7, coming in. We have Train back in. We have Robert Gilstrap. Jimmy Trung picks it up the ground. He laterals it back. And finally, play brought to a stop by Jimmy Hawley just past the 40-yard line. There is a flag on the field.
It may have been a flag guarding. It's possible the ball carrier may have done a little hop to have the flag avoid being pulled, which, as you know, is flag guarding. We'll have to see.
And they are going to check this out. Sometimes somebody sees something, they throw the flag so they can talk about it. But if nobody else saw it, they sometimes will wave things off. Usually you try to go with whoever has the best view or the best angle on the play. It looks like
maybe he's picking the flag up.
he's either waving off or... Yeah, he has not talked to the offense or defense about accepting it yet, so... All right, so the result of the play again was just past the 40, so we're going to have a 1st and 10 from about the 41-yard line. Another flag on this play.
Another pull by Jimmy Hawley. I'm curious what the penalty is.
Maybe roughing the passer.
That's what it looks like.
Illegal use of hands, 0, offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay down.
Okay, so that was a penalty on Jimmy Trung of the offense. He didn't say where. It looked like from an earlier motion he was putting his hands to his neck, so maybe he just kind of got a little too high. You are allowed as the defense, or I'm sorry, you are allowed contact within 5. It usually has to be initiated by the defense, but if he put his hands up into somebody's neck, that's what the call appears to have been.
Especially if he didn't keep his elbows bent. If he locked his arms into someone's neck, that's an easy call to make.
Another pass to Tina. Looks like it's going to be just short of the 1st down. And on that play, when they tried to pull her flag didn't come off, and it kind of held her up. That is not holding if all you've got is the flag and it doesn't come off.
Yeah, Wesley Train went for a little ride there. That does happen sometimes, and obviously he was worried about getting the holding call. The referee was right there and clearly saw that the flag just got hung up. Looks like he may have gotten the first. That's the light blue.
Yes, they're moving the yellow, so they got the first down, and I feel like if Cam had not hesitated about using his run, he might have gotten farther, but that one little, am I going to actually use my rush, cost him the diving flagpole from the defender. So Gilstrap coming back in, Skumka's now back in there on defense, and Edgar Ramirez, far from us, and then Omar Robles is actually back there playing safety.
Yeah, Edgar Ramirez is a fantastic defensive player for King Mike's teams in the past. Has been in multiple championship games with him. So,
pass out there to Julius Williams.
Julius Williams, this is his 22nd year in the league. He's one of the original players that's played every single year in the league since it started in 2004. And he's still out there doing the work.
Aren't you one of those?
Yes, I'm the other one.
And other people who started with Ivan Solis, but he has retired from active play, right? But still very involved in the National League.
Correct. There's another player, Abe Velarde, who plays in this league. He missed a few years in the middle, but he also played in 2004. So there's only 3 of us left, but we obviously love it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it still.
All right, so we had a little block of the pass there. The pass before to Julius Williams, that is another sort of classic flag football play, is to have your center or your blocker just kind of give a block and roll out and catch a quick little pass in the flat.
Yeah, essentially you can have your center or guard go out for 5-6 yards, replace the rusher where they just were, and just become an option. Roll with the quarterback. If they can't anything deep, as long as you have good hands, you can actually get 5 to 10 yards every play.
So we've got about 3rd and 3 or 4 here. Tina Cheng again, and I think you're starting to see why people would nominate her for Receiver of the Year.
Correct. All you really need is a good set of hands. It doesn't matter how fast you are, and she's got decent speed, but she has really reliable hands, and that's what quarterbacks look for. It's like a safety valve, and if the quarterback can trust your hands, you're going to get the ball a lot.
Another thing helping at this point is, at least from our angle, Steve, it looks like the EQ Kings are playing off a little bit. They're not playing on the line in a bump. They are giving them 3 or 4 yards.
That's pretty standard in the league nowadays. You can almost drive a car between the offense and the defense. But again, you can press and play up on the receiver and bump them up to 5 yards. A lot of reasons why people don't is they respect the receiver's speed. If you get up close to the receiver and blows by you, there's nothing you can do. A dangerous pass by Cam.
I think the same thing. Just like in pro football, throwing across your body and across the field often does not end well.
Especially into the wind and throwing like a rainbow. If it were a laser that way, maybe, but there were at least 3 defenders there in the vicinity. So fortunately, the ball was incomplete.
And when we talked about those deep balls, you're right. Another thing that is probably making them think twice is this wind. They are going to blow towards us in the booth no matter what, and they may hang up there and give people time to get an interception. And that is Gabe Hutler now on our side coming in as a receiver. A nice pickup of a dipping ball again by Tina Chang, getting them much closer to the sticks here.
Looks like it's 4th down, but pretty close. At this point, they just might as well score unless they can maybe toss it to a guard or center. But it's really close. It looks to be about a yard. But they can still get the 1st down.
And Wilcom does not have his run at this point, so he's got to push it. This would be a place where you might see one of those push passes, but that's just not something he does a lot.
Correct. Sometimes quarterbacks prefer to have more space to work with than less. So we'll see what happens here.
And there is a flag on the play. So the refs are going to make sure somebody has the spot of whatever happened at the end, and then they're going to talk the flag.
Looks like he may have gotten the flag before Cam got the ball off.
So he's talking to the offense, I think. So there's probably a defensive penalty.
May have been an illegal rush.
Illegal rush. Defense. The penalty is declined. So the play, first down.
Okay, so wherever it ended, despite the cheering, it was already a first down. Maybe that was great cheering. So they are going to decline the penalty. The illegal rush usually means someone crossed the line ahead of the person who started behind the box. And Tina Chang again, this time for the score, and that will put the Hornets up 13-7 while we wait and see if they're going for one or two. I think it's one.
So the play, a touchdown. 1 point try. 1 point try.
Yeah, Tina Chang's definitely showing why she is a Receiver of the Year nominee. Fantastic hands, and she's been a great target for Cam this afternoon so far.
And so again, this is the open league, which means that anybody is welcome to play. Many women do play in this league. And you have to guard them. You cannot pretend in this league that the women are people who can't play the game, and Tina Chang is making that abundantly clear right now. And the extra point to Cantwell is good, and so our score now is 14-7 in favor of the Harley Gray Hornets.
Yeah, there are about 15 players in this league who play in both the Open and WTNB divisions. When we make the schedule, we make sure that the WTNB games are not the same time slots, so they can play in both. And in fact, we have 2 members of the EQ King of Queens that are playing in the Women's Championship or WTNB Championship game after this. So they will actually be playing 2 back-to-back championship games today. That would be Susan Leary and Laura Belazarian.
So on that particular play, it looks like they are going to spot it where the flag was pulled. It sometimes takes a minute for the flag to fall. If that happens, you're trying to spot the ball where the ball was when the flag was pulled. If the flag comes off completely on its own, then a player from the defense just has to tap the player once they get the ball.
That's correct. That's why you'll see receivers running with their arms extended to get that extra yard, because again, it should be where the ball is when the flag is placed as the spot.
First down at about the 43 or 44, it looks like. That was Stumptus again.
Yeah, Reisner doesn't really employ traditional guards and centers that block. He usually likes to have everybody go out, and oftentimes that means his center will be someone who's a little bit smaller and more athletic. He doesn't usually rely on the big fellas like a lot of teams do for blocking. He just likes to have everybody open.
So Reisner a little bit upset about that one. Did look like a good pass to Omar, but I will say this. I played for Reisner for a number of years, and he gets a little hot, but he will come right back to you and give you another chance.
Same. I've had that exact same experience. Oftentimes he'll yell at himself even when everyone knows it was the receiver's fault, but he'll throw it right back to you. So that's disrespect for his teammates, and that just helps everyone get better.
And he did. That was supposed to be a little bit of a stop and go with the pump fake by Reisner, but receiver just held up a little too long.
Yeah. One of the biggest things you can't do as a receiver is to slow down or stop running. The ball can move faster than you can. Just keep running, continue the route. If you run out of real estate, turn it up, do what you have to do. But when you slow down, it's all about timing. The quarterback is throwing where he expects you to be, not where you are.
And so we've got a 3rd and 10. This is a big play. If the Hornets can hold him here, could be a tough 4th down. Reisner can run well, but 10 yards can be a lot. He needs to get a little bit of this here. Now we'll see what Kovrig says here. It looked like part of his body may have been ahead of the bag when he threw that ball, in which case it would be an illegal throw. And I do see a flag.
Well, the flag was pretty early on. I don't know if he crossed the line and then went back inside again. I'm not sure if that. I think if you make the pass even after you had already crossed, if you come back, it's still legal, right?
No, once you cross the line, you will become a runner. Okay. Okay, so there was no foul on the throw. It was a legal pass. There was a legal contact on the defense, which because the offense picked up the first down, was declined by the EQ King. So we are going to have a 1st and 10 now from about the 22.
Yeah, one thing to point out too, this is the first year that this league is using beanbags instead of actual chains. So sometimes it's harder for the ball carrier to see where the first down and the line of scrimmage is.
Okay, this is the 2-minute warning. So for most of the half, the clock just runs from 30 minutes on down. Now we are at 2 minutes, and so you will see things. So there will be, the clock will stop for incomplete passes, and that will just kill the clock, and it will start on the snap. If they get a first down, the clock stops only till the field is reset. Flagpoles in the field of play, clock keeps rolling. Out of bounds, the clock stops.
Looks like that was number 7, Jimmy Hawley. Fun fact, Jimmy Hawley is a huge Taylor Swift fan. So Swiftie Nation's out in full force today. That's his 3rd catch.
So you are almost never unhappy to score. However, that leaves a lot of time on the clock. And honestly, a tie half is a little bit of a win for the EQs because they will get the ball to start the second half. So giving them the time on the clock and a minute 50 is enough for the Hornets to score again. Might have scored a little earlier than they wanted to. All right, so incomplete pass on the 1-point try. However, there's a flag on the play.
Personal foul, bull rushing, number 11, defense. A penalty will be enforced as a 2-point try from the 5.
Okay, so the enforcement on that is that he can have a 2-point try from the 5. A bull rush just means in some way the rusher tried to get to the quarterback without trying to go around a blocker or tried to go through blockers that were standing next to each other, but did not try to at all go around them.
Yeah, you also can't split the 2 blockers. If they're next to each other, you have to make an attempt to go around. And it looks like he went right into him on that one.
They may be talking about enforcement here. The other option would be would probably be a 1 point from half the distance, which would be about the 2.5-yard line.
Correction. Half the distance to the goal, still a 1-point try though.
Right, so that's going to be the final call here, is that you don't enforce that by giving them the 2-point chance. You have to take half the distance to the goal and try again.
Looks like Reisner wants a call there. Looks like Kim may have gotten a piece of his arm instead of the ball, but I didn't see that.
All right, so right now with that eventually missed extra point, we are at 14-13 in favor of the Harley Gray Hornets with I'm guessing, so the 1:53 on the clock. So that everything that happened with the point after is on a dead clock. So the only time that ran off was that last play to get the touchdown. So we have about 1:53. Same rules as I mentioned before are going to apply. Plenty of time if you know how to manage the clock.
Yeah, going back to clock management, when you mentioned Jimmy Hawley scoring, it's really hard to not score. That's your instinct, is to get in that end zone. My team played these Hornets earlier in the season. We were up by 5 points with this amount of time left on the clock, and they went all the way down and scored. So time management's everything.
All right, so the clock was rolling all through those first 2 plays. That first down would stop the clock until the field was set. However, there's a flag coming in deep from the back judge, Austin Evans. And penalties will also stop the clock.
Yeah, the defense is moving back, so they know it's on them. Plus, they were right in front of the back judge when the penalty was thrown, so it'll be interesting to see what it is.
Batting. 94. Defense. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
I think you said illegal batting. You cannot bat at the ball. If the receiver has it, you go for the flags. You can't knock it out of their hands.
Correct. No swatting of any kind.
All right, so on that play, it was a catch. It moved forward. He tried to pitch it back to Tina. She caught it, but with her knees on the ground. So the spot is going to be where she caught it, which was a little short of the most forward progress. Clock's running through all of that. And it looks like Cam did run there. So he ran, he did not get the first. He will lose his run. The clock is running. Teams for the entire game get 4 timeouts for the game, but you can only use 3 in any one half. So there's 1 to sort of burn in any half, and then you have to decide what you're going to need later when you use more than 1. Oliphant goes right down there after getting the first down. So the clock's going to stop again until the field is ready. The referees will move the pucks, and then they will get started. And it looks like the Hornets are trying to get set so that they can go right on the ready.
Yeah, when the clock's running like this, it's really tough to catch the ball inbounds. You really want to try to get out of bounds if you can to stop that clock.
So the clock is running now, unless they call a timeout. And I think somebody did.
Yeah, 3 straight passes in the middle of the field. They're going to burn a lot of clock here, so they have to score. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to take advantage of the time that the King of Queens gave them.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see Chang running across. It looks like, a couple of times the wide receiver, the widest out on our side has cleared out, and she can get 5 or 6 on a quick little out there. It was also interesting that time. It looked like King had her covered, and something that Cam did with the ball made him move over to cover another receiver, and Chang was open. And there she is on that little out.
May have been an illegal rush. They got in there awfully quick.
So the flag is pulled, and when the referee is moving his hands like that, part of that is to say the time has stopped. So time has stopped for the penalty here. It looks like there was about a little celebration of a sack, but I agree with you, Steve. It looks like that's probably going to be on the defense.
May have been number 8, Robert Gilstrap, as the rusher, came in just a bit early. And also, you have to get your entire body behind the puck as well, not just your feet. So if your head goes over it, that's an illegal rush. Not sure what happened here, but I think it is rush-related.
Okay, they're going to talk to them both. Maybe there was something with the clock or something they need to figure out. Or sometimes, you mentioned earlier that games can get a little chippy. Sometimes we just have a discussion with both sides to say, hey, this would be an offsetting penalty, and calm down. Not sure that's what that is. I didn't see a lot of contact or anything bad there.
No, but there could also be some instances where the players are pushing the limits of what's legal and just how they're playing, not even personally, just trying to take advantage, and I think the referees might be catching it. I'm not sure what that powwow was for a holding call, but
yep, we'll try to get that at the halftime for you, but 5-yard penalty from holding. You repeat the down, it's second down. Some good defense there by King. he didn't touch him or do anything. He just sort of blocked whatever path he might have had to the ball, and that's okay.
Yeah, sometimes you can just lean the receiver out of the way, and that's not even technically pass interference. It's only when you use your hands that it becomes an issue. So that may have been a smart move, King Mike, to just get number 21 off his route a little bit.
This is more time. This is time the referees are taking. That was an incomplete pass, so that stopped the clock anyway. Should it come up, in our league, you only need 1 foot in college rules to get the catch. And okay, so the main result is an interception in the end zone. There's a flag right about that time, maybe after it. I could see this. I didn't really see a bad pass interference there. It could have been a personal foul afterwards.
That or offensive pass interference, because it looked like Tina Chang was, once she realized she didn't have the ball, she was right into Edgar Bitt. But that was a great, if he was in bounds, that was a great catch for the interception.
And if it is an interception out of bounds, it will be a touchback, and they will get the ball from the 15 with whatever time is left on the clock.
It looks like Edgar's holding his nose, so he may have gotten something to the face there.
And we may not start from the 15 if there was in fact a penalty. All right, so that is what happened. As you said, Steve, it was actually pass interference on the offense. It's declined, which means there's nothing to add. So with the touchback, we'll start at the 15 just like we would after a score. And now, very important for, and halftime, okay. So we are now at halftime. The halftime score is the Hornets 14 and the EQ Kings of Queens 13. Referees are getting ready together to get the beanbags and go off of the field, and we will have something in the neighborhood of probably 10 minutes here.
Yeah, that was a huge defensive play by Edgar Ramirez to stop the momentum. Again, scoring as early as they did and giving Cam and the Hornets that much time to go down the field. And ask me how I know, it happened to my team before. They were able to get that stop, but they almost nearly didn't. So, you know.
And I agree with you about the play by Ramirez. However, I also think it was set up by the rushers. Robert Gilstrap and Ryan O'Shaughnessy were double rushing, and they were putting some serious pressure on Cam to throw those balls. I'm pretty sure that was not the ball he wanted to throw to that corner either.
No, really good pressure. They're extremely fast, but most importantly, they kept containment, meaning both of them came from different sizes and boxed him in. Oftentimes, rushers will rush together, but they end up being shoulder to shoulder, and at that point, they're just chasing the quarterback, which isn't as effective. They got in Cam's face. He lobbed the ball up there, and Tina Chang still had a chance at it, but Edgar Ramirez made a good play there.
So while we're waiting for the second half, we can talk a little bit about the league. And so this is, again, the 22nd season of the San Diego American Flag Football League. It's the second season where there has been a WTNB division. This year there are 18 teams, 12 in the Open Division and 6 in the WTNB division, and over 275 players this season.
And this is one of the largest numbers of players this league has ever had. It's fantastic, and we owe all the credit to that to the WTNB division. Brittany Torian, who's one of the board members on this league, she recruited a lot of WTNB players from her other leagues, and so did her other teammates. And that's really the main reason why we have 18 teams, because the WTNB division really stepped up, and we will be seeing their championship game following this one, and I'm excited to see that. This will be their first time having their championship game broadcast, and I know a lot of the players there are excited about that. But yeah, we really owe it to everybody to recruit, to bring people in, because there's attrition. There's people that retire or don't come back, but we really rely on, new people coming in every year, because unlike leagues like softball or kickball, where you on the same team, you just come back every year, we have a draft. So our teams have to be redrafted from scratch every single year. And captains come back and they can draft their core players, but everyone's eligible to the draft. Every captain has one save that they know that they can have, but the remaining 15 players, they have to rely on the draft board. So that helps, keeps things mixed up. It also means that if you're on a good team one year or a bad team the other year, it can be a totally different experience the following season. So it's crucial that we are continuously promoting the league to get people to come back, because these teams, once they have this experience, you'll never be with that exact team the next year.
Yeah, so we talked about you have played every season of San Diego American Flag Football League. I played a number of years, about 15 years ago. I have mostly been a referee, which is why I know some of what Neil is doing before he says it. We've been friends for a very long time. I had retired from playing and then was asked to come back and be a referee with his crew. This year, the Gay Bowl is going to be here in San Diego.
And even the ones they don't win, they're actually in the championship game either way. So I believe since 2010, there's been at least one San Diego team in a championship game in a Gay Bowl in some division since 2010. I mean, there's no city that can say that, but more importantly, this is going to be the 25th tournament, and we would get to host it. This was our third Gay Bowl that San Diego is hosting. We hosted in 2005, we hosted in 2015, and now again in 2025, and it's a pretty big ordeal. We're slated to have 126 teams, which I believe is the most Gay Bowls ever had turn out. So it's going to be an amazing experience. We should have anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 attendees for this tournament in October. So it's going to be a big deal for us.
And we will keep talking about the Gay Bowl as we go through this game and the next one, Gay Bowl 25. But we also want to talk about another one of our sponsors, and that is the USGSN. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the United States Gay Sports Network. USGSN invites everyone to come out and play. USGSN is America's only LGBTQ+ sports directory that promotes every league and tournament in the country. If you want to find a league or tournament by and for the LGBTQ+ community and its allies, then head over to usgsn.com. The network currently features over 1,000 LGBTQ+ leagues in over 100 cities. Follow and subscribe to @USGSN on all of your favorite social media platforms. USGSN is a proud sponsor of Gay Bowl 25.
Yeah, Gay Bowl 25 is any Gay Bowl tournament is a big event to put on. And because of that, it requires, a lot of capital, and we're relying on sponsorship to make sure that we can put on this tournament. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, so any sponsor that is able to, donate to the cause, be it corporate or personal, it is a tax write-off for that reason. And if anyone is interested, either personally or on a corporate level, in sponsoring Gay Bowl 25, you can contact Ivan Solis at ivan@sdaffl.com, or if you want to personally make a donation of any amount, simply visit our league website at sdaffl.com and just click the Gay Bowl 25 logo on the right-hand side. It's quick and easy, and a receipt will automatically be generated for you for your donation. And Gay Bowl is not possible without help from the community. So any help you can give us to put on the best tournament possible, we would absolutely appreciate.
So again, here at halftime, our score is 14-13 in favor of the Harley Gray Hornets. Because they won the toss and chose to kick, or to defer, they change the language on this every few years. I think you're not supposed to defer anymore. You choose to receive in the second half, which is what deferring used to mostly mean. But at any rate, that means the EQ King of Queens will be getting the ball to start this half.
Yeah, and that also means that the Hornets and Cam Welcome will be throwing with the wind now, and that could serve to benefit them. Obviously, that means Eric Reisner will now be throwing into the wind. So the fact that it's tied kind of nullifies any advantage that either of them had in the first half. And generally, the winds do tend to die down a little bit as it gets a little bit later and a little bit warmer. But right now, we'll have to see. But yeah, we'll see if the wind benefits Cam at all.
And we do have some players from other teams here watching the championship game. You can see some other colored jerseys there over on the sidelines. The team in the lighter blue was in the semifinal game and actually lost to these Harley Gray Hornets in a close game.
Yeah, the Baja Betty Eagles had a fantastic season. That game was extremely close. It was, I believe, won towards the end there. Actually, on that very last play, Alex Otero, quarterback of the Eagles, couldn't find an open receiver, made an attempt, and AZ Zelznick really dove for it, but just couldn't bring that ball in, and the Hornets essentially won as a result on the last play. Baja Betty Eagles should be commended for their great play all season long, and that comes down to Raul Reyes, their team captain. He's a board member as well, and he's done a really good job with his team, not only athletically, but they have a really good family, and they're a really fun team to watch. So congratulations to the Eagles for the success they had this year.
And we have a couple more minutes here because I see the referees still over in the tent, so we will probably have a couple more minutes before we start this game.
Yeah, it's not terribly hot outside, which when you're playing football is great. That also means that when you have any kind of break, your muscles can start to tighten up. So, this is a great time to hydrate and to continue to stretch, stay loose, because the last thing we want to see is more injuries today.
And, Steve, you were talking about the Gay Bowl and how big it is and what it takes to put on. It is going to be October 3rd to 5th in 2025 this year. And in addition to sponsors and donors and players, we also need volunteers for the Gay Bowl. With the 100 teams and 3,000 attendees from the United States and Canada, we need people to help with various facets of the game, social events, field operations, lots of other tasks. If you happen to be around for the 3rd to the 5th, or know some folks who are, or if you know any officials who have roughed football, we're going to need some of those too, probably. So you can contact the league and the Gay Bowl organization at ngffl.org/Gay Bowl, and there is a volunteer tab at the bottom of the page.
Yeah, you can go to that website. You can go to the SDAFFL website. We usually have resources for all of those things. Just if you're not sure, just contact a board member. We'll make sure we'll get you in touch with the right people. And that, in terms of sponsorship, volunteering, if you have any questions about joining the league or anything you can do to help out the Gay Bowl tournament, we're willing to get help from anyone if they're willing to offer it.
And it's, if you can come, even if you don't want to volunteer, it is a fun event to be around. It is going to be good games throughout the day. You can hang out and watch games after your friends or teams play. There are usually events at bars or restaurants in town. It should be a pretty hopping weekend here in San Diego and Hillcrest.
Yeah, the games will be played at Surf Sports Park in Del Mar, right off Via de la Valle and Interstate 5. Very large space. We'll be having food trucks, vendors, and other things out there to keep people occupied. But then there's the nightlife. We'll have organized social events for every single night of the tournament as well. So we encourage everyone to come out and watch if they can.
And speaking of sponsors, as the referees set up the field here, we might as well mention the sponsors of these teams. So the Harley Gray Hornets are sponsored by Harley Gray. That is a bar and restaurant that is in the Mission Hills area of San Diego. Very good food, lots of specials, bottomless mimosas on Saturday mornings.
I believe they have a lobster special as well.
And then the EQ King of Queens. EQ is a fairly new bar. It is in a location that used to be the Marrow. It was bought actually by the owner of Flicks, Jeff Jackson, who has pumped a lot of resources into it to bring it up to what people expect now in an LGBTQ plus bar, and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really turned into a prime spot for EDM and other similar music. They really did a great job with the dance floor. It's a completely different experience now, but I encourage everyone to check out EQ whenever you get a chance.
And so we are set here to start the second half. We have the Harley Gray Hornets on the 30-yard line ready to kick off. And we have the EQ Kings of Queens in formation behind, just in front of the 30, ready to receive. When we hear the whistle blow, we'll have a kickoff. Actually, we have a couple of referees still coming on the field. That's Austin Evans bringing the beanbags out, and Neil getting in position down at the far end.
Yeah, it looks like the wind is still slightly a factor here. So again, as long as they keep the ball in bounds when they kick it, they should get a decent amount of distance from this. And I don't know if you want to remind people what happens if the ball goes out of bounds on the kickoff. What is the result?
The result is usually that we start at the 30-yard line, but you can force the team to kick off again. This kicker actually kicked in the last game and did a very good job. But the wind wasn't quite what it is. You heard let it go out. They didn't. I don't think it was going to. And so we've got a flag pull here at something around the 26-yard line. So that is where the EQ King of Queens will start this drive.
Yeah, that was a line drive spiral kick there, but fortunately Edgar was able to catch it and run it back for a decent amount.
Yeah, had he bobbled that, it would have been dead wherever he touched it. So taking that bounce was a little bit of a risk, but I don't think it was going to go out. It was going to curve back in. So right call and got some yardage out of it. And actually, it looks like we are actually just past the 20, so more like the 20, slightly ahead of it here. Quick pass to Ramirez, who runs it just past the first down marker.
Yeah, Edgar's got a really good set of legs on him. He can move and change direction really quickly. And again, he's a great defensive player as well, and that's where you develop a lot of those skills. So once he gets the ball in his hands, his yards after the catch can be pretty explosive.
Using Edgar in the slot now. Quick pass pickup of about 8 yards. Edgar Ramirez in the slot reminds me of another player who played for Reister for years, Eddie Quintero, longtime league player who was the slot receiver for Reister for many years.
Similar build, similar skill set. They even look like they could be related, so I believe there's a comfort level there with Reisner playing with Edgar. He knows he's got great hands and that he can move. Possible Biffle may have slowed up a bit, not thinking it was coming to him.
So it sounds like the offense thought that it was an illegal rush. Ken, the referee, saying very clearly no. The first person to cross the line was somebody from behind the rushing line. Just because we see him on our side now, we can tell you that 12 is Gabe Hunter, his second year in the league, and 13 is Robert Natividad, and that's his third year in the league.
Yeah, Robert had a pretty significant injury at the end of last season. Looks like he's completely healed though. He's playing at full speed, and it's nice to see him make it into the playoffs.
And then the rest of your defense, Jimmy Trong out there. Cameron is rushing. Trong Moore playing a little bit more of a safety. Keith Oliphant back there, and then Joseph Cantwell. So a lot of people playing both ends of the ball here for the Hornets today.
And that's something you won't see as much in the regular season, but in a game like this, especially when it's tied, you're going to have your best people out there as long as possible oftentimes.
So little pump fake there, but then Wolfram there with a big sack.
Now that was smart of Albert Wolfgram to not bite on that pump fake. Oftentimes quarterbacks will do that to cause the rushers to jump up in the air thinking they're going to throw the ball, and while they're up in the air, that quarterback can escape and throw it, but Albert did not bite on that, and he got the sack.
The odds of hitting that ball are pretty slim. It looks great when you do it, but probably better to focus on the hips and the flags and just stay in there.
Absolutely, because if you jump and touch that quarterback's arm, it's a devastating penalty. So it's always smart to go for the hips and get that flag first.
This looks like about 2nd and 15 or so here after that big sack. Yeah.
Yeah, looks like his thigh went out of bounds before his feet touched.
Yep, he tried to keep that toe down, but it came up before he caught the ball. I agree with the call on that one for sure.
Good effort by Steve Biffle, though. I mean, that's a tough one. If he got his toes down, he'd be a hero, but...
And then out there for the offense one right now, as we can see their numbers, we'll let you know. We talked about Ramirez, Steve Biffle out there, Stumpkus out there again, O'Shaughnessy still snapping the ball to Reisner at quarterback, and that's King Mike out there in the slot this time. Oh. Okay, so the pass was incomplete. There was contact there. The question is going to be, were they legitimately going for the ball and it happened, or was it unnecessary and after the play?
Yeah, the ball was slightly behind King Mike, so I'm not sure if any contact was intentional, but I did hear the slap, so we'll see what the call is here.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 0 defense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot results in an automatic first down.
All right, so that is a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. I think he saw what we saw and heard, which was there was a little contact at the end, sort of after the pass. And that's just not allowed in this league. And another flag coming in here.
Looks like the referee saw it as tripping. I'm not sure if Jimmy Trong intentionally did that. He may have just been planting his feet and Bithell tripped over it, which as a guard myself, that I've done that. But it looks like they're going to get the tripping call here.
There was also something late where it looked like Trong sort of went like this. I think he was going for the flags and missed them. I don't think that was a penalty, but okay, they're going to wave off the flag, Kovrig says.
Yeah, that was a good wave off. I think Jimmy Trong was just planting his feet in a wide stance to pull the flag, which is sometimes what you do, and I think Bithell just tripped over that, so it wasn't intentional.
And it's tough a little bit because, you know, Chong just needs to take a breath, because once you've had a personal foul, people are watching a little bit more and make sure you're not getting hot. So hopefully that will go back to sort of no worries, calm play here.
Well, considering these two opponents, it's been pretty calm so far.
Absolutely agree. And that's going to be good enough for a first down. Again, they went for the flags. They actually got the flags. The fact that he pulled some jersey there was because he was going for the flags. And nobody's looking to call that a hold. If you really see them get shirt versus the flag and it actually impedes the runner, that's where you're going to see a hold on a play like that.
Yeah, if you accidentally get shorts or shirt when you're going for the flag, as long as you, as quickly as possible, release it and it doesn't really impede their run, you generally won't get a call on that.
Okay, so what happened on that one was the ball went to Bithell. It looked for a minute like he caught it. He popped it up in the air. His flag came off. He was able, by good concentration, to catch the ball again. But once his flag was off, all they had to do was touch him and he was down.
Yeah, that audible gasp was from me. When that ball goes up like that, it's almost like a bump set. Anyone can get it. And fortunately, Bithell was able to pull it back down. But that was a very dangerous pop-up.
It was a dangerous moment for the King of Queens. I agree with you. And now we are second down and about a yard or two, getting very close to the end zone here.
That was Steve Bithell's drive for sure. He did a fantastic job there. And Reiser just kept going to him, and he paid off.
And so now with 6 points on that touchdown, I believe our score is 19 to 14. And that is the first lead for the King of Queens on the day. And we're going to have a 1 point try.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the King of Queens defense here can do against Cam, who will be going with the wind, as I stated earlier. If they can get a stop here, that could have a huge effect on the game.
Okay, let's see. There's a flag on the play. The pass was incomplete. The flag, I think, came out before the pass, so it may be a pass interference or it may have been something else.
Or maybe an illegal rush, but the flag definitely came early. Yeah.
Okay.
The way the flag came in early, it looked like a situation where the Russian was there too soon. I don't know. I don't think that was why Bithell didn't catch the pass, but
if Bithell didn't catch the pass, I want to see and check why the try is being called good. I thought Bithell didn't catch the patch, so they would get another attempt at it.
I saw the arms go up there, but if he didn't catch the ball, it would have been an extra point either way. Inadvertent touchdown call?
I think he was calling the clock off.
Got it.
So I think we're going to get another try, maybe from the 2.5. All right, so we are going to have another 1.5 from the 2.5. Now, you know what? It's hard, and actually I know exactly what Kovrig saw, is that
I saw that as well.
Ken waved it off and then put his hands up, which was meant to stop the clock because we usually do that mechanic regardless, so we're used to doing the 2-minute warning, but it looked to Neil like it wasn't a good try. So got the call right in the end, which is what you can ask. And the try is good in the end.
Yeah, inadvertent whistle, bad. inadvertent touchdown call, funny. And it looks like it didn't matter. It looks like King Mike got it in there, and they got that extra point after all.
All right, so now I have us at 2014 in favor of the King of Queens. Steve, are you surprised they didn't go for 2 there?
If they had the option of going for 2 from 5 yards back, yes, but at the same time, they wanted the extra point. But they're also only up by 6 points now, so all Hornets have to do is score and get the extra point. Now I'm not going to go up. So that was a gamble. We'll see if it ends up biting them in the end.
I mean, 1 point extra points far from guaranteed, but if they keep trading 7s, the Hornets win out on that one.
Yeah, that's why the stop from the EQ defense is important.
All right, so a catch there by Oliphant on the sideline. Short gain, about 3 yards. Going to have about a 2nd and 7 here.
I haven't seen a lot of throws to Keith Oliphant, but again, when you have Tina Chang and a lot of those other players, there's really no need. Oftentimes, the defenses will read Keith as the best player, so they're going to cover him more, and that leads to other people to be open, and that's definitely benefited Tina.
All right, and that is Joe Cantwell in there again. And now they're getting small chunks, but they're moving the ball forward. This is going to be about a 3rd and 2.
It's important that the Hornets get this first down, because if they are not able to convert, then the ball is literally in EQ's court.
Okay, so we had a long pass, good run, attempt to have a backwards lateral, didn't go, so the ball would be dead up there, but there was a flag on the field, so we'll see what that is.
I believe it was a flag guarding. It looked like Jimmy Trong may have done a little hop there as he was turning around to avoid the flagpole. We'll see.
Personal foul, bull rushing, 17 defense, 10-yard penalty added to the end of the run.
Okay, so that is a killer. It varies penalty to penalty. Steve, I will admit to you, this is one of the reasons I back judge and do not wear the white hat. It's important to know which penalties get added on, which ones don't, which ones would have to be declined. So the bull rush gets added, so they get all of the gain that Trong made before he tried the lateral plus 10 yards.
Yeah, that was a devastating penalty. Jimmy Harley almost nearly had that pick. That would have been huge, but just out of range.
Wilcom got away with one there. That was a little high and very dangerous once it got past him. So we're going to have a 2nd and 10 again from about the 28-yard line after that large penalty. Okay, so on that one, they were able to get a piece of the ball, and they did it without hitting Wilcom, so no penalty on that one, just an incomplete pass.
And unfortunately for EQ, there were no defenders in the vicinity, because that ball was in the air for a long time, but no one anywhere near it.
So 3rd down, Wilcom's still with his run. He's a different runner than Reisner, but a very good one.
Yeah, his ability to evade the flag being pulled as he's running is pretty amazing.
And then I don't see any flags down. That looks like a touchdown. It was a nice pass to the sideline, and the one player had a chance that his flag missed him. He turned and ran it down for the touchdown.
Yeah, that's always a gamble when you dive to get someone's flag, is if you miss and that receiver's still on their feet, they can go, and there was nobody else to pull his flag. So gamble by Jimmy Trong that unfortunately didn't pay off.
So now we have it at, it's 20-20 right now. And they're going to go for 1. So they're going to try to go for the easier one, keep that 1 point advantage. If they went for 2 and they get it, that would make the other team definitely go for 2 just a tie. But if they don't get it, then it's tied now. So
really,
playing a little safe here.
Yeah, exactly. And really, you just want to be ahead of any kind. of any kind of points. If you don't get the 2 point, then you're still tied. So I get why they went for 1 here.
And honestly, good defense by Jimmy Holly there, but great catch by Cantwell.
Yeah, it looks like he got his toes in. Just barely, though.
So we will see if Kovrig or the other refs gives us a check. I again have this at 21-20 in favor of the Hornets.
We didn't really get a confirmation whether they made the extra point. Based on the reaction of the crowd, I'm not sure how that went.
And he had about 15 minutes, so about half of this second half is gone. Close to a first down. That's not a flag. That's just Bithel's flags to pull there on the ground that he's picking up. Oh, there is a flag down right by the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul, bull rushing, 24, defense, 10-yard penalty to the end of the run. First down. Personal foul, bull rushing, 24, defense, 10-yard penalty to the end of the run. First down.
Yeah, it looks like
Point good.
the rusher went right into the went right into him.
So we were just able to confirm that actually, even though he came down with it, that extra point was no good. So it is a tie game at 20-20.
And that's what I thought I saw. I thought I saw the reaction from the Hornet audience out there react as if he didn't make it. So it is tied. So even when they're going for 1, they still a gamble. It didn't pay off.
And it looks like we're going to have a quick score here by the King of Queens. The cornerback bit on the fake and allowed Bithell to get right by him. And then the last person to have a chance, Jimmy, was able to get some hands on him but couldn't get the flag off of him.
Fantastic play by EQ to pump fake, have the defender bite, throw it to Bithell who was open, and to avoid getting his flag pulled and continue that play into the end zone. Great job by both.
And it looks like we are going for 1 again. So 26-20 now in favor of the King of Queens. This may come down to clock management here as we go, or whoever gets a stop is probably going to win.
With teams like this, it's very common for it to go back and forth like this. This is not at all surprising. And oftentimes it's whoever has the ball last who wins.
Same idea. They tried to get him to bite on the pump fake. He did a little bit, but the throw was a little too deep, it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like Reisner had enough space to run it in himself, but the closing speed of the Hornets defense is pretty fast, and I think he wisely decided to throw it instead of trying to get inside the pylon. It just didn't work out.
All right, so 26-20 in favor of the King of Queens. That was a very fast drive, so we may still have something above 10 minutes on the clock here. All right, we're going to have a first down here on the pass to Oliphant. When it comes to clock, we don't have one for you to see, but all the refs are probably trying to keep a clock. It's actually pretty easy until the 2-minute warning. Then it'll be between Kovrig and usually the back judge Evans to decide who has the official clock. That could have been a game changer.
Yeah, he really had a chance to get that ball, and I think he realized that that would have been the case. But I think he's still happy that the ball just wasn't caught by the offense.
Yep, now I'm going to have a 2nd and 10, and It looked for a second like he had it, but when he rolled over, it came out. Ken right on the call there. Did not have time to make a football move.
No. Another dangerous pass thrown by Cam.
Now gets away with another one. Oh, there is a flag down. And we could, I don't know if you could, if. All right, so we have a roughing the passer. I didn't say anything too flagrant, but more or less, you can't be touching the passer. You can get those flags, and that's about it.
Correct. As Cam was evading the rusher, his arms were kind of out and about, and if he hit the rusher's unfortunately going to get that call. And this is not a penalty EQ needed because they had all the momentum up to that point.
Exactly. If he can still throw in it. For those who couldn't hear, he was actually telling Jimmy to go out and probably hoping to get a dump off pass to him.
Yeah, Robert Gilstrap's getting in there fast, the rusher for EQ.
It looks a bit like Cam is allowing them to do what you said about Reisner, which is he's not really having his blockers block a lot. He's letting it come and trying to find a receiver or dodge quickly.
But EQ is getting to Cam, and at some point he might have to consider having either Jimmy or Julius stay by and block, just to give him a little bit more time.
And they are this time for a little bit. And there you have it, in the sense that Jimmy did stay back, gave one block to Gilstrap, let him through, and was right there. And I think we'll be seeing that a little bit more.
Yeah, oftentimes quarterbacks will tell you to block and release, meaning they'll let you just get a little piece of the rusher just to slow him down a bit and then turn around and get open. And in that case, Julius stayed by the whole time and gave Cam just enough time to get off to Jimmy.
And if they have to start focusing on Trong as a receiver, we'll start looking at Cheng again, probably.
It worked in the first half.
Interesting little flip pass there to Julius Williams, but not much gain on it.
Not a lot of gain, but again, it is a gain. And as a rusher, or as a guard or a center, if you're getting open, you're just replacing the rusher. If the rusher is going to be in your quarterback's face, be there where he was and catch the ball. And it's a couple yards, but it's better than nothing.
Well, and it's a couple yards that make this a very gettable rush for Wilcom if he wants to use it or has to.
I would just give it right to the guard again. That way he can keep his run. If O'Shaughnessy allows it.
Well, there's the stop we talked about.
That was the stop EQ needed. And now if they can just, again, manage the clock, drive that ball down there and get another score, that could be the game.
It's going to be very tough for the Hornets if they go down by 2 scores at this point. So they really need to have a stop here. Again, the score right now is 26-20. And so about a 6-yard slant there to Biffle.
Yeah, Biffle's really been the star for EQ in the second half. I mean, Reisner's been throwing to him constantly, and even with the defenders there, he's making the catches and getting some yards after the catch. So great job by Biffle.
It looks like they switched up the defense a little bit here. If they're in a traditional set, it looks like Trong is now playing quarterback more, and I think that is Natividad more playing in the middle as a safety. And it looks like we have an interception by Cantwell, and that is exactly what the Hornets needed.
Absolutely, and if it had been a mutual possession, the possession would have gone to EQ. It always goes to the receiver, but he let up. If he rolled around with him and held onto that ball, it would have been an offensive possession, but in this case, it was an interception.
So Cantwell catching the ball on both sides today. And now we are probably under 10 minutes. And if they can, what the Hornets probably want to do is kill the clock on this drive and see if they can win with an extra point. And that looks like it's going to be another, I'm going to guess that's going to be another roughing the passer because it looks like there was contact there. And
Yeah,
I
you
see
don't
a
want
flag down.
you don't want roughing the passer when they're this close because you're essentially just giving them the yardage right up into the end zone. Looks like Neil's having a bit with the spectators getting involved here, and
Yeah. All right, big play there with a pass to number 24. That was Al Wolfgram again.
I haven't seen a lot of Albert Wolfgram, but when we have today, he's done a great job getting those yards after the catch.
So we're going to have a 1st and 10 here from about the 37? No, 33. So pass to Chang. Someone on the field called bull rush. I don't know if that will be Kovrig's call. If it is, it's going to be another one of those devastating add-on 10s.
And there's been a lot of bull rushing in this game, and you would think that by now they would know to stop doing that because those are devastating penalties for something you really don't have to do.
Personal foul, bull rushing number 17. 17 is stopped for 4 plays. Personal foul, bull rushing.
So it was a bull rush on O'Shaughnessy, I believe, and he's been put to the sideline for 4 plays.
And that tells me that he's been overly aggressive in the rushing capacity throughout the game, and Neil's just giving opportunity to cool down a little bit so it doesn't cost his team even more.
And a pass right up the middle there to Jimmy Trong, pick up about 6.
And, you know, it's not uncommon to play a little aggressive, especially in a championship game. You play to the whistle, you see what you can get away with. You know, Ryan knows how to do that better than anybody. He's had a lot of success, but in this case, it was fair that Neil gave him some time to...
Okay, so that is the 2-minute warning. I didn't think we were quite there yet. So here we are at the 2-minute warning. Again, the Hornets down by 6, 26-20. However, they're the ones driving, and if they score, they can probably, if they get a few more yards easily, make it very hard for them to have time on the clock.
Yeah, if you notice, most of the passes have all been inbounds, so that's encouraged the clock to keep moving, and I think that's why the second half has gone as quickly as it did. And there has not been a lot of stoppage other than the penalties.
And if Willcom and the Hornets can keep his run and get it close to the goal line, they can really start burning clock or forcing them to use timeouts.
And this is again a clock management situation we've seen before. Do you score early just to get the score, or do you think you're confident enough to stop EQ if you do?
Right now we've got 3rd down and about 5-ish. Little dump off there. And you can see Trong extending the ball. They didn't get his flag, so he got even more than that. And we are going to have a 1st and 10 from inside the 10. And as discussed, I believe Willcom still has his run. So the reason I say they can burn a lot of clock is if they can get it down to the 1 or 2 yard line, it is almost impossible to block a quarterback who has a run because you can't cross the line until he gets the ball. So if you can get a pass to the 2, you can pretty much eat a minute or more on a play or two if they don't have timeouts. Now they do have timeouts, they're taking their first one.
Don't be surprised if you see Cam run with the ball, he'll stop. He will not cross the end zone. He's going to stand there and wait for someone to pull his flag to burn as many seconds off the clock as possible. May have been a legal forward pass.
I agree with you, it may have been. Depends exactly where they said their feet was. And it looked like if the pass was good, then Cantwell got it and was deflagged, and we would be down by the goal line. I don't think he crossed, and I did not see a signal that he would have. It looks like he's talking to the offense about accepting or not, or maybe he's explaining it. Okay.
Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty and a loss of down.
Again, when we had chains, it was a lot easier to see where the line of scrimmage was, and when you're relying on a beanbag, it's a little bit more difficult. We switched to this because this is what they're doing in the tournaments now. So what better time to get the players adapted to the tournament than during the regular season?
And we will see, but usually when that illegal forward pass is close and there's no gain, that does not burn his run.
Yeah, because the receiver was running laterally, so I don't think they would have gained much anyway.
So a tip there.
I think the
Cantwell,
collision was incidental.
Yeah, Cantwell trying to bring it in. It's really hard on tip drills like that to know where you're going and where they're going.
Correct.
So I think it looked like a lot of contact, but it was a fair no call.
Right, I think the defender was just making a legitimate chance to get the pick, and there was a little body contact there, but it was definitely not intentional.
All right, so we are 3rd and goal here because that 5-yard penalty on the illegal forward pass moved it back. All right, so we are going to have a 4th and goal, basically for the tie. And EQ taking another timeout to have as much time as they can get left on the clock. And if Harley Gray can score here, it will be a tie, and they will just need a 1-point extra point for the win, or to be ahead with very little time on the clock for EQ.
But they can still get the first down, I believe.
No,
Oh, because the penalty.
The penalty brought it back.
That's
the yellow
correct.
beanbag is out there just sort of out of play because
right.
once you're inside the 10, you don't need it.
So
Okay.
Cam absolutely has to score here. That's the game. If he doesn't.
And this is a long scramble, so he's going to be looking for a pass unless he can beat the rushers, or maybe bring somebody with him for a lateral.
All comes down to this. Too far to scramble, that means Cam has to get it to a receiver in the end zone.
I would say if you're going to script something, the receiver most likely to get lost is Chang. And there's a flag on the play. There's an interception.
Depending on what the flag is, though, it may not matter. It may have been flag guarding on Cam. I think he hopped.
I'm thinking the same thing. It could have been a flag guarding on a hop.
And if that's the case.
If they do, that will decline. They'll decline it, and that'll pretty much be the game.
Right.
There'll be time left on the clock.
I think it was.
Illegal contact 0. Offense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play. Touchback.
So it was not flag guarding. It was illegal contact by Jimmy. You know what? I'm going to tell you, I saw that. I didn't know if that's what would be called. You cannot, as an offensive player, the contact allowed in 5 yards has to be initiated by the defense, and there was a little bit of a push there or a bump. Again, I think it was a fair call. I don't know that it always would have got caught and called, but
Yeah, receivers cannot meet the defender like that. That's just like the guards can't do pick plays. Those are not allowed either, and that's probably just what happened. Either way, it's a great play by the defense to intercept that.
Yep. If they had not made that play on the other end, they would have had to accept the penalty and they would have had one more chance. As it is now, about a minute left and down. Racer throws an incompletion. That's going to stop the clock, which is not what he wants.
No.
But the Harley Gray Hornets would need a very quick stop here somehow.
I would imagine at some point Reiser just might use his run in the middle of the field just to keep the clock running if he can't find a receiver.
I agree with you. Or little pitches just to move the ball a little bit.
He's not looking to score. He's just looking for a first down and keep the clock going because at this point, that's all you have to do. Easier said than done sometimes, though.
Harley Gray does have, I think, all of their timeouts left, so they can't just kill it easily.
I did hear them ask.
Very upset there. There was a lot of contact. Jimmy kind of went for the flags. We have quarterback Cam Wilcom is down here in the back, so we're going to have, I think, some injury time here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there with Jimmy. I don't know if it was intentional, but I don't think he made any effort to get out of the way either. With a game that matters like this, you're going to do everything you can within the whistle. But I don't. Looks like Cam's okay. He's just a little ginger on that leg.
And we have 38 seconds left when he blows. So Harley Gray's taking a timeout. So the clock was going to start there on what was called the ready when he blew his whistle because the timeout was for the possible injury to Wilcom, but they called a timeout, so now the clock's going to stop until EQ snaps the ball. But they did get the first down there, so going to be tough.
No, that was a great catch and run by Jimmy Hawley. I bet he wishes Taylor Swift was here to watch.
All right, so we have a flag on the field after what looked like a 5-6 yard run.
Bit of Keystone Cops action just to kind of stay in bounds. I think the only reason why he ran out is because he knew his flag was pulled.
So I think it is going to be very tough for the Harley Gray Hornets here. There's still time on the clock, but I think, we should take a minute to congratulate Keith Oliphant, the captain, and the Hornets. This is his first time being a regular season captain, and he captained them to an undefeated season until this. Undefeated regular season.
He called a timeout, Neil. Okay. I did not hear anybody call a timeout. He just said it. Just for them to set the mark.
Okay, what the discussion here is, once again, because the clock was stopped for the penalty, they would normally restart the clock on the whistle, but Jimmy is saying for the Hornets that he would like to call a timeout then so that they don't run the clock until the snap.
Correct, and there's nothing that the EQ would want more than to have the clock run, but...
We have holding on the offense. That penalty is declined. Go to play, second down, with an immediate timeout, Harley Gray.
So Jimmy got his timeout.
Yep. And it makes some sense to decline the penalty because they only have so many timeouts, and so the time that ran off the clock they would not get back, and they would have to do the down over. So this is a reasonably smart decision, I think, to decline that penalty. They need a turnover.
It's a chess game, really, with clock management, and you have to know when to call those timeouts and when not to, and especially in a game like this in the current situation. So Hornets doing everything they possibly can to stop this momentum, get the ball back.
So we're at second down after all that. There's the snap. Here comes the rush. And the flag is pulled. It's going to be third down, and they call their last timeout.
And it should be noted that Ryan O'Shaughnessy wasn't really making any attempt to get the ball to any receiver. He just wanted to run the clock down, so he was just trying to avoid being sacked as long as possible. That's a smart move to get that clock to run down.
And what you saw in that play was a lot of good blocking of the rusher. The rusher came,
Final 20 seconds, 2-0.
and that was their final timeout with 20 seconds left. So
You're right. It's really hard to block that long legally, especially when the stakes are this high. Great job blocking by Eric Reisner, and it looked like King Mike to extend the play like that. So great job.
And unfortunately, and I think with the reason Reiser's not rushing here is the clock is going to run now. They're out of timeout. So that is going to be the ball game in about 15 seconds officially. And that means that your champions of the San Diego American Flag Football League, coming from the number 6 seed, are the EQ King of Queens, and the undefeated streak of the Harley Gray Hornets ends here in the championship game after a great season, undefeated in the regular season under new coach Keith Oliphant.
And the irony is the Hornets won the championship last year also as a 6th seed.
So it looks like our commissioner, Grant Porter, is getting ready with the trophy. It's his 8th season in the league, having played in 5 Gate Bowls, 3 of them with the San Diego Sharks. Wearing his Betty's jersey.
Yeah, it's great to see Reisner and O'Shaughnessy get a regular season win here in the championship, because going into Gable with their team, there's no guarantee that that might be their last time doing it. We don't know for sure, but you want to end the regular season on a good note and go into Gable with this momentum. Great job to Stephen Biffle and to all the blockers, and especially the defense and the rushing. The rushing was fantastic by EQ, extremely fast, and they got to Cam. Cam's a fantastic quarterback. The Hornets are a tough team to beat, and EQ showed why they deserve it.
All right, so once again, the end is the EQ King of Queens 26, the Harley Gray Hornets 20, champions EQ King of Queens. We want to thank our sponsors, the USGSN and Gable 25, which will be here in San Diego on October 3rd to 5th, 2025. And with that, I think we can take we will either follow you through the trophy presentation.
You have to stop this one.
Okay. We are going to allow the trophy presentation to go on. We at Cloud Sports are going to take a break here and reset our equipment and make sure our batteries are good so that we can bring you the championship from the WTNB division of the San Diego American Flag Football League. Thank you for watching, and please come back in just a few minutes.